U-GeekTV.
Welcome back to another installment of the Unapologetic Football Show on U-GeekTV. And then I'm back and I'm alive because last week it was real touch and go at this point, man. I had the fucking flu and I was trying to press my way through. Greg, you did not see me. Chris saw the horrors that was my face. And he said, boy, it ain't no damn way. He said, it ain't no fucking way that you gonna sit up here on Al Gore's internet or whoever the fuck owns it at this point.
Beyonce.
I will sit up here and do a whole damn show. But we are back. We missed the divisional round, but we're back for the conference championships. We may tap back to the divisional round a little bit. I'm not sure about that, but we for sure we got quite the show for you. So we're gonna get into the NFL conference championships. We're going to make our Super Bowl picks. I want to have a discussion about how Lamar Jackson is being covered in the media. And then we're going to wrap up by talking about that godforsaken college football national championship game. But that shit. I ain't got nothing for it, but we'll talk about it. But first and foremost, before we do anything else, let's get into it. The Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs, and Josh Allen, he just ain't gonna get there easy. He just ain't gonna get there at this point.
Good.
This probably was the second best he's played against them, I believe. And now it's becoming a Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady situation, or Peyton Manning versus the Patriots situation. I know you're familiar with that. Both Greg and Chris, and it just got to the point where it was like, what more do you want him to do, right? And then Peyton finally did overcome. He had to make an epic comeback to do so. But this is where we are, and the Josh Allen glaze is finally over for the duration of the season. It took us a while to get here, but we finally got here. And yeah, I'm just looking at that game, and I know a couple episodes back, it was like we all on this show came to the realization that the Kansas City Chiefs were going back, right? I remember specifically the Denver game where Denver that field goal was blocked that would have basically got Denver to win in the victory in that particular game. And I remember just saying it's just something is divine at this point at play. I also remember us having a discussion about when it comes to playoff time, they turn into a different team, and they're doing it again. Here comes Travis Kelce. He's playing worth a damn again. And if it's not him, it's somebody else. Well, this particular time, the rest of the team really wasn't all that notable. It was Pat this time. Pat hadn't rushed worth a damn all year, which is insane for a QB that is mobile as he is. And he decided to pick one of the biggest moments and biggest stages to have 2 touchdowns on the ground at like 45 yards. It's just pure insanity. And sometimes it comes to this. You just know how to win. You just know what it takes to win a football game, and you go out there and do it. Early on, Josh Allen looked like he was about to tank, and then he got it together. And the defense, they stepped up where they could, but honestly, for the most part, they really couldn't stop Kansas City. And Kansas City was having struggles stopping them. But then what's interesting to me is there has to be some element of panic with teams when they play against Kansas City. Last year in this same game, we saw Lamar Jackson all of a sudden decide to try and be a pocket QB. Inexplicably. In this last game, I do not know why they stopped giving the ball to James Cook. James Cook was doing what he was supposed to do. Every time he touched the ball, only positive things happened. In every situation where it was 4th and 1, for some reason, they refused to turn around and get that ball to James Cook. And they just wanted Josh Allen to be the guy to get him over the line. And at one particular point, it's questionable if he got him over the line or not, but I'm sure we'll get into that too. With that being said, man, I've said quite a bit. Chris, what did you think about the Buffalo and Kansas City game.
Thank God we ain't got to hear about Josh Allen no more, man. And it's because he is a good dude. He helps out with kids all the time, the children's hospitals and Buffalo. He does all that good stuff, man. But the media can turn you into just somebody that we don't fuck with, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens with him. Yeah, the game was back and forth, man. But like you said, it's the power of 15, man. Xavier Worthy stepped up as well, but every time a play needed to be made, Pat was scrambling somewhere, buying himself a little extra time to either get the ball off or run for yards himself, like you said. Josh Allen, beginning of the game was kind of iffy, but then he got rolling. Like he's, James Cook, man, was phenomenal, and that
he was
to show all these dumbass people who, fucking Dan Orlovsky and shit, man. Josh Allen ain't got no help. Like,
that's crazy.
James Cook was 1,000-yard rusher. James Cook also tied for the lead in touchdowns. Well, second place behind Jahmyr Gibbs. But with playoffs included, James Cook led the league in touchdowns, bro. He had like 22 touchdowns this year. Like, I don't want to hear that no more help shit. Yeah, the defenses both went back and forth. Kansas City is probably the most vulnerable I've seen their defense look in a while. But they made the plays when they need to be made at the end of the game. That terrible drop by Kincaid on that last fourth down conversion. Kansas City sealed it, on the next series, man, pretty much ended the game. But it was a good game for sure, man, the back and forth. But we all called Kansas City going to the Super Bowl, so no surprise there.
Yeah. It kind of is what it is. Wait, no, I don't think I didn't have Kansas City. I had Baltimore going. And honestly, I'm about to stop picking Baltimore. I'm about to stop, and I guess this kind of gets us back to the division. I'm about to stop picking them motherfuckers, man. Because they did the same shit. They just did it against Buffalo. They just all of a sudden stopped rushing the football. We're gonna not give it to our premier running back that we paid all that money for. We're just gonna stop utilizing them. And because that's the formula of getting us through here. Let's just make sure we do everything we can to muck this up and fuck this up. And that's exactly what they did. Getting back to the refs, because my boy Tyrus, he wanted to make sure it was known that the refs were in rare form on Sunday, which is hilarious. As far as the officiating, it wasn't as egregious as other games, but that damn fourth down situation, that was fucked up.
Should have been a first.
That was fucked up. That was fucked up. But at the same time, like I just said, you don't have that issue. You can just turn around and just give it to James Cook in this situation. It is what it is, though. And they won. Greg, what were your thoughts on the game?
Absolutely phenomenal that we don't see Josh Allen no more. I hope he picked out a good couch to watch the Super Bowl too. I know Muskell is still running himself for New Year's, so I hope he picked out one pretty good. But I mean, the game itself, like honestly, I kind of figured it was gonna come out and be like a slobber knocker again from JR. But that questionable 4th and 1, dog, I can't even lie, dog. I think everybody watching that game was pissed off at that call. Like, I think everybody, no matter who you were rooting for, that was a terrible call.
Not me.
Chris don't care, but
I was like,
I mean, but it just puts you in the mindset of like, damn, bro, like, even if you don't want them to get it, just seeing it taken away like that was just like,
right.
That's bullshit, dog. Like, as a football fan, that's bullshit. But fuck them, they gone. So we got Pat Mahomes back in the Super Bowl. Somebody brought this to my attention. I think a lot of reasons why a lot of people push for Josh Allen because he's so regular. Because the Buffalo Bills insignia looks like Trump. You see the red tie, the blue suit, and then he's white. So I'm
wait a fucking minute. Wait a fucking minute.
Look at it, bro. When I tell you, when he said that, I was like, this motherfucker can't win twice. He can't win twice. So seeing him go down, I'm like, oh, Okay, good. Now after that 4th and 1, I'm like, fuck it. It's over with. We done. Pat Mahomes going back.
Hey.
Lamar Jackson, just to speak back on him, Lamar Jackson is like Ricky Bobby when he had his accident and couldn't come back. It seemed like every time he gets his shot to come back to win a Super Bowl, he fucks it up. He does something crazy and fucks it up. He just gets out into the bigger games. He just like, Coach, what do I do with my hands? What do I do with these hands? I don't know what to do no more. Like, it's all a blur to him. So he deserved to sit his ass at home too. But I'm glad Josh Allen sitting at home in his love seat, watching the game with his flip-flops kicked up, getting ready for the next season. Because Pat Mahomes, we're going to talk about that later. But when he brought that up, the Buffalo Bills insignia looks like that, bro, I was so happy. Oh, yeah. I was like, that's a win in my book. A loss for them is a win in my book.
Yeah, that is insane. Now, like I can't unsee the Buffalo Bills looking a little bit like Trump. Like, it's crazy. And now I keep thinking about that Trump dance that people have been doing and all that kind of stuff. This shit's wild.
Right.
But yeah, this game was just insane the way that it played out. One thing I can say for sure, though, like for absolute certainty, you have to play and coach a perfect game to beat this team.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's, whatever the refs contribute to it or what's going on the field, you cannot beat yourself when it comes to that. You have to capitalize on every single opportunity that you have to win the game. And the defense kind of just fell apart, especially on that final Kansas City drive. And it was one of those things. This was the craziest part. It was a situation where Kansas City was up 29 to, was it 21, I believe? Or was it 29 to 22? Maybe it was 22. Yeah, it was 22 because they just needed an extra point to tie it.
Yep.
When they started that drive, I looked over and I told my daughter, here's the scariest part about this. I said, let's look at the time. There's quite a bit of time on the clock. If you're Buffalo, the best you can do is tie this game. You have to score. You have to kick the extra point. You have to hope that it's not too much time on the clock, but you also have to hope that your defense stops Pat Mahomes and Kansas City from scoring. But on top of that, when you get the ball back, if they do score, you have to make sure you score. But on top of that, you also need to not leave enough time for Pat Mahomes to come back and end the game and just send your ass home. And I know what you're thinking. Well, how much time is the perfect amount of time to ensure that doesn't happen? Well, I don't know because I saw Pat Mahomes beat him with 30 seconds left. I saw it. So it's one of those things, man. It's like that team just kind of goes through the ebbs and flows of the regular season. And then at the end of it, they decide to just pick it up a notch. Like they're well coached, they're a disciplined team. You can say what you want about the refs, and some of that stuff it's true. But at the same time, it's like, God damn, man. Like, what is it? What is it you're supposed to do? So, moving on from that game to another one that wasn't quite as interesting, but very entertaining. Washington Commanders fall to the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia put up a 50 burger on there. You don't see a whole lot of
wow.
Double nickel.
Yeah, that was absolutely wild. So it's funny seeing all that the Commanders had to do just to score 3. Just for them to just hand the ball off to Saquon. And he just did it in one play. He just I knew what type of day we were in for at that point. Before we get to the Philadelphia Eagles and their wonderful, delightful, and beautiful performance, I want to talk about the Commanders for a moment. We just got through talking about Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes in his second year won an MVP, had a 5K yard season through the air. went to the conference championships where he ultimately failed to Tom Brady, and Tom Brady started looking around like, "Nah, I got it. I'm either going to get some weapons. I got to get the fuck up out of here." That was the moment that Tom Brady decided, "Hey, y'all either going to give me some help, or I'm getting up out of here." We know how that went. Jaden Daniels is having a Mahomes-like effect on the Washington Commanders. And he's very interesting because he kind of plays like a cross between Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. He is deceptively fast on his feet. The way his teammates failed him on Sunday. Hold on. Excuse me. The way his teammates failed him on Sunday should be studied. Dropping the ball, fumbling. And I remember when I said something about Austin leaving the Chargers. And people thought I was insane for feeling that way. You always want to get rid of a running back a year too early. And we did that with the Chargers. I knew Eckler was going to get over there and he was going to show why we didn't give him that money. Bro, what the fuck are you doing, man? Every time it looks like that we're about to get some momentum, somebody failed. Thank God for Zach Ertz and McLaurin. Thank God for those two. They were all the ones who were producing, really. The offseason needs to be about getting him as much help as you can possibly get him. That's it. Point blank, period. Greg, what did you think about the Commanders' performance?
Didn't expect anything less of it. I mean, you gotta, when I saw, to be honest, going up against the Eagles, I had to look at it like this. This is their first time making it this far. And then you're going up against the Eagles. So I wasn't expecting them to blow them out. I didn't even think it was going to be a close game, but I definitely didn't expect it to be the score it was. Like, I wasn't expecting that. But to play the way they did against a team that has had, family issues, basically, I give them some credit. I mean, can't hold your head down, but like you said, they definitely need the help. And I think they'll be back next year. I definitely think they'll be back next year if they help. If they healthy with some help, they'll definitely be back next year because they played pretty stellar, but the Eagles defense just ate their ass up. Like, tremendously ate their ass up.
Hey, pause, man. You wild. You wild talking about eating that ass. Anyway. But no, seriously. It's seriously. Yeah, the Eagles dismantled the Commanders, like point blank. Like, that's the only way to really describe what was going on in terms of the defensive side. But it's just unfortunate that he really didn't have a lot of offensive help when it came to even putting up a fight against this team. And I just, for the record, man, you please pause. Please pause when you speak in this manner.
The Eagles didn't pause, y'all. All
right. Hey, come on, man. Come on. We're a family show. We are a family show. But overall, the Washington Commanders, I commend them for the season that they had, man. They really went way beyond and may have dismantled the Detroit Lions in the process, because I don't know if morally that team can ever bounce back from what happened to them. But yeah, the Commanders they're out of there. The future is bright, despite what their former owner has to say about it with his hating ass. But now we're going to move on to the Philadelphia Eagles, who again has had a little bit of infighting, but at least for one day, this past Sunday, it looks like everybody was on the same page. Yeah, Ed, shout out to you. He's absolutely right. The turnovers were where the difference was when it came to the Commanders, man. They couldn't bounce back off that. But I think the future is bright for them. But moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles again, all of that dysfunction and infighting that was going on, it seems to have been brought back together with the dominance of Saquon Barkley. And everybody who has an issue, including AJ Brown, reportedly, is basically like, nah, this is how we do it. This is how we're gonna get there. And Saquon, when I say dominant, like this is a generational season. I'm not gonna call him a generational player at this point because I need to see some more of that from him. But this is a generational season that he's had, and the way he's just dominated on the ground is phenomenal. What are your thoughts on really the Eagles season as a whole, Chris?
Well, I called it a few weeks ago, man. Winning cures all that shit, man. Winning can make you shut up real quick. And I get it, right? I don't actually. AJ Brown has had career years every year with the Eagles, man. I don't know what the hell his problem is. I understand he's not getting the targets as some of these other top receivers, like a Jamar Chase, like a Justin Jefferson, but none of them guys have 26 in the backfield. So you got to shut up, bro. You still putting up 1,000 yards with that man, but I expected it. I picked the Eagles to get to the Super Bowl. I knew it was coming. Pause. That that defense, man, that defense was top tier, bro, and they showed up. Quick shout out to Jaden Daniels, though, man. He showed me everything that he had to after the Eagles forced that fumble right before halftime and they scored, and he drove them down the field to at least kick a field goal. He showed me everything he needed to right there. But like you said, all that shit is null and void when you got 26 in the backfield, bro. I'm not gonna say he's a generational player, but I will say he's a generational talent because it's not that many people 6 foot 235 who can move like that. The way his body moves, pause again if needed, is otherworldly for a guy, pause again, his size. It's phenomenal
tonight, man.
I don't know. It's just all in the verbiage. I don't know, bro.
Everybody take a second to relax.
Calm down.
Wow.
But nah, man. Yeah, he's been one of my favorite players since he came from Penn State. It's just a pleasure watching him run the football, man. He does some stuff that you can only do on video game type shit. I mean, we saw earlier in the year with that backwards hurdle, bro. Like, who in their right mind would think of that? And his body is just reacting. So, talent wise, I don't think there's too many people in the league who can do what he does at his makeup.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, he's phenomenal, man. Smitty had a resurgence this week. Shout out to Smitty, the Louisiana boy. All of $150 out there doing his thing. AJ Brown, man, I kind of knew he was locked in, bro, when him and Marshawn Lattimore got into it in the end zone, and he stopped.
Yeah,
because he could have took that way farther. He could have slammed Sean or whatever he wanted to do, but he put his hands up, he put his helmet on.
Right.
He was chilling.
That's a sizable human being there. It says, okay, well, the ball gets sent to AB because of the Super Bowl with a disrespect going to the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think it's disrespectful not throwing to him. I think they're doing what the Ravens and what the Bills should have done. Turn around and hand it to your running back who is producing. And until the defense can stop it, at that point, I mean, why would you do something different? And it's one of those things like winning cures all. I want to tell you where it would implode. It will implode if they lose the Super Bowl. I think that's it. Right. I think at that point, especially if it's a situation where AJ doesn't feel like he was getting the ball enough, I absolutely think that would be the point where we really wouldn't be able to come back. Like we're at a point of no return at that point. But they falling behind the leadership of Saquon Barkley, and I say, let him run you. Pause. Let him get you to the finish line and get you a Super Bowl ring. And even somebody as idiotic as Nick Sirianni can see that, right? Can see that is the path that they need to walk to, finish this whole thing off. For God's sakes, just choose to win the game. That's what you need to do. That's all you need to do. Is just choose to win the game. And you'll be fine.
And it's his birthday.
And it's his birthday. It's like the stars are aligning for a hell of a Super Bowl. And I guess that gets us to our next point. Who do we got winning this whole thing, man? Greg, unfortunately for you, you're out of absurd picks. These are clearly the two best teams in the NFL, and we have to make a conscious choice here. Okay. And I'm going with I think Philadelphia finishes it. In spite of the drama and in spite of Nick Sirianni, I think Philadelphia finishes this because I do not trust that Kansas City defense can stop Saquon. I don't. Just keep handing the ball off to him, and you're gonna get to the promised land. Jalen Hurts doesn't even really have to be great. All he has to do is be okay. Just be decent. He doesn't have to have a game like he had on Sunday. Keep feeding Saquon the ball, and he will get you to the promised land. And that cures the issue of giving Pat Mahomes too much time too. They're perfectly built to beat the Chiefs. Other thing though, the way the Chiefs are playing now with more dinking and dunking, they also can keep Saquon off the field. So it's going to be a very strategic Super Bowl, but ultimately, I think the Eagles are just too much for. Chris, what's your pick?
Well, you know, I'm a South Carolina women's basketball fan. Okay. Shout out to my coach, Dawn Staley. She is also from Philly, and she rock her Eagles, and I'm going with the coach. Yeah, man, like for all the reasons you just named, the Eagles are built to beat this Chiefs team by keeping 15 off the field. And that's what you have to do to beat them. That defense also full of young, talented players who, you know, they come in to play ball. So even all that dinking and dunking shit, like the Eagles defense is built to stop that. Mm-hmm. You know, that interior defensive line, they got great pass rushers. The corners, Darius Slade, one of my favorite corners for a while now. He's been playing ball. The young guy, Quinyon Mitchell, is phenomenal. Cooper DeJean out the nickelback spot. You know, they just got guys everywhere on that field. So I think they match up very well with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think they get the job done this year.
Okay. All right. Real quick before we move on to Greg, Ed has quite a few things that I think I kind of broke Ed and he has lost it on us. So I'm going to choose one of his comments. And he asks, are we betting on emotional facts? I'm the mayor fan, man. I'm just trying to be objective here.
Pure facts.
The Eagles really are built systematically to stop what it is that Kansas City does. Again, I don't think Jalen Hurts has to be necessarily great. It's going to be on Saquon. I think Saquon has the skill set and the game plan to get it done. Now, will I be proven otherwise? Especially with somebody like Spagnuolo out there calling genius defensive schemes? Maybe so. But just looking at this Kansas City Chiefs team that I've seen throughout the year and some of the issues that they've had with the run, I don't see how the Eagles can, for lack of a better way of putting it, fall this away. I just don't. And again, 15 is a bad man. Andy Reid is probably the best coach ever. This side of Bill Belichick, at least. And Nick Sirianni is an idiot. I'm sorry. He is. I don't trust him. But his coordinators do a fantastic job of taking all the choices out of his hands and just stepping up and doing what they need to do. Right. And all of those factors together, I don't know, man. I feel like the Eagles are going to get this done. With that being said, my boy Tyrus, he goes again. Eagles by 4. With that being said, Greg, what are your picks? Or what is your pick? I guess you're going to make one pick, huh?
It's just the obvious answer. So I'm gonna go with the refs, man. I think the refs gonna take.
God damn.
Hey, he on demon time tonight,
man. Nah, man. I can't see the Eagles not winning this, bro. For one of the bigger reasons, I think this is more important to Saquon. He doesn't get the rushing yard record, and I think that's why he was on demon mode in his past game, because it was like, oh, I ain't getting the record, so I'm gonna whoop y'all ass. So I think this is more so for him to get this. I strongly don't see Kansas City taking this. Like, I don't care what the refs do. I don't care what he go, whatever church he go to. I think he went to some mega church. He probably up there with Joe Osteen, got some blessings on him. But it's gonna take more than that for them to, it's gonna take that thing from Dark Knight when Bane blew up the football field. That's the only way I see them taking this game, bro. It's like, Saquon's finna go after it, bro. He finna eat, dog.
Man, Ed is losing it. Ed has lost it on the.
Oh man.
This man said he'll take $200 bet. Are we saying $600? Or are you saying that collectively the three of us have to pay you $200?
Man, I'll be honest with you. If grocery wasn't so high, I'd take that bitch.
Bro, if everything was so goddamn high and I didn't know what tomorrow looked like, I would take that bet. Because tomorrow ain't promised to nobody. That's one thing that this economy has told me. Your next meal may not be your next meal, man. No, it ain't gonna be your last. It ain't gonna be yours. Period. It's gonna stay at the store. The dollar menu ain't the dollar menu no more. It's just it's crazy. Ed said you did everything off emotions, bro.
Emotions.
What you gotta say, man?
I say
Ed is calling the entire podcast out.
Right. That's fine. The fact of the matter is my emotions might be right, because I can see it now. Saquon gonna have that Vince Lombardi trophy in his hand, and I'm already waiting for the front page. I'll put it like this: I'm not gonna put a bet on it. I'm not gonna put a bet on it because I ain't 200 is pretty steep. Not even pretty steep.
I don't know what kind of money. I don't know what kind of activities this man is partaking in.
Bitcoin. You want to play some Bitcoin? I play some Bitcoin.
I can tell you right now, I will pay you in Uno cards.
Facts. Monopoly money.
Illynetic, I think I said that correct. He said the Eagles almost won, or she, because we don't discriminate. The Eagles almost won last time, and they didn't have Saquon, and that's true. It was a completely different game, honestly, the last time they played against each other. A great game, too, by the way. We can only hope for another game as great as that last one. But it's going to be interesting, man. You also had Jalen playing on the MVP level during that time, too, and he's not necessarily doing it. He's actually taking some steps back, which I guess that goes into Ed's side of the argument on that, but we'll see. And Ed did just raise a good point. He said, think about Alabama QBs in the pros. That, especially coming from a man who is a fan of the Miami Dolphins, he knows the pain of having an Alabama quarterback. He knows it. So if I can trust any authority on this,
and I'll follow him on that because Mac 10 is.
Oh, it's a fact.
We're gonna
Mac 10 ain't shit. He ain't shit. But we'll come back in a couple weeks and we'll see how it shakes out. So the next subject, I'm not gonna say it's a serious subject, it's just something that kind of piqued my interest. So after the Ravens lost to the Bills, there was an interesting tweet from Ryan Clark in which he basically told Lamar Jackson to keep his head held up high and all that kind of stuff. And Marcellus Wiley pulled up, who was the former Bill and a huge fan of the Bills, pulled up a clip of Ryan Clark just going hard on Josh Allen, just killing him. essentially in their loss last year to the Chiefs. And they accused, or Marcellus Wiley accused him of being a race baiter. And then he just outwardly called him racist. And they went back and forth for a while. Ryan Clark cut this long ass 10-minute promo about how he's not a racist and all that kind of stuff. It was WWE style. It's always funny when he does those videos because they're so serious and they're so long for no reason or whatever. And ultimately, to me, what cemented that Wiley won this back and forth is if you looked at how Ryan Clark tweeted about not only Josh Allen, but really all the Caucasian players this past Sunday. He was very, very generous towards them. Like at one point, he shouts out the white defensive players on the Eagles all doing their thing. It was crazy. But the way he was talking about Josh Allen, it was some shit out of the Twilight Zone. Like he overcorrected the issue to the point where I'm like, are you a Josh Allen fan? But it made me just really think. The way Lamar Jackson was covered initially with the draft shit and all that, it was racist. Like the way they analyzed his game and his pro potential and stuff, it was racist. And because it was called out, I feel like the media is afraid to criticize Lamar Jackson when he's having issues. Like it's a select few people at this point are just saying outright, Lamar Jackson just got to get it done, right? He has to make those throws and things like that. And to me, that kind of gave birth to the overglazing of Josh Allen. And it's like a causation between the two of them because you have players who are pretty similar doing different things, and both of them really are just good guys that want to go out and ball. But here is where I really want to tie this into. Getting back to Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark was talking about the evolution of the black QB. In his recounting of how we got to to where we are with the black QB now, he named Randall Cunningham. He led right into Michael Vick, said Cam Newton was next, and he ends with Lamar Jackson. It just stops. Let's talk about the black QBs he missed. Okay.
Right.
And one of them I don't even necessarily agree with. And I like as far as a player, but I can admit that he belongs in that black QB conversation. This man missed Russell Wilson. He missed I had it earlier. He missed Russell Wilson. He missed the one I don't necessarily agree with is Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick, when he was really in his bag, he was one of them ones. Out openly and freely admit he was one of those dudes. Give Dak Prescott a hard time, but I can show Dak Prescott a little love in that regard or whatever. But the one that's most interesting that he missed, we just talked about, and he's the rival of my team. How can you not list Patrick Mahomes in the evolution of the black quarterback? I do not understand it. We're talking about a quarterback who more than likely is going to go on to become at least the second greatest of all time at the trajectory that he's going. How do you miss that? So it made me just really kind of dig deeper into what it is that Ryan Clark has going on. Just kind of stay with me because we're going to really get to it. There's an interview where he was speaking and he called Lamar Jackson authentically black.
I kind of figured that's where you were going.
Really now? What does that mean? And that's something that, like the whole, if you're biracial, you're not black thing, I've always had an issue with that argument. And it's like a way to sow further division into us and to place Lamar Jackson as authentically black while you purposely, and I mean purposely, left off those other black quarterbacks in the evolution of black quarterback quarterback play was very interesting to me. Now, does Lamar Jackson not deserve to get mentioned? Absolutely not. He's an amazing quarterback, but it is crazy that you would sit up there and allow yourself to skip over someone who is doing things at their position at such a young age that we had never seen before, just like Lamar Jackson, to label them authentically black. With that being said, and like I said, that causes a lot of division within our community, especially on the sports level, but really just on a racial level. With that being said, Greg, what are your thoughts on this subject?
So I'm gonna play the devil's advocate, and the reason I don't say that is because I'm gonna be completely honest. If you would have told,
I'm sorry, I know who the last person was. It was Jalen Hurts. He didn't mention Jalen Hurts either. When we talk, and Jalen Hurts is also playing different from anybody else that we've seen. But go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
No, you good. I think if you would have told me that Patrick Mahomes was black, I wouldn't have guessed. And I think that's kind of, I don't know his mindset. And I can't say I speak for the gander, but at the same time, you do have people that think that way in a sense of, I wouldn't know it if you didn't have to say it. Like if you have to say it, then I don't consider you 100%. So I get the division, I get where they come from. It's kind of like a lot of people rock with you because you look more white than you look black. And here we are with Lamar Jackson. I can look at him, he's black. I don't have to ask, I don't have to question. He's fully black. He's not mixed. Well, we don't know if he's mixed. He just, skin complexion is black. And I think they're looking more at the skin complexion of Patrick Mahomes, and I see a white male. Even though it's tinted, I still see a white male. So I think in that regard, I understand where they're coming from, but like you said, it's only showing division. Biracial or not, I mean, if it's in you, it's in you. So, I mean, you can't take it out. You can't get rid of it. I mean, you can't wash it from him. He's black. His dad is black. I'm talking about black and mild black.
Right.
Like, yeah. But seeing from his perspective and people that think like that, I guess you have to understand they want, when that name comes up and somebody mentions black, they see light skin. They see he would pass back in an older generation's timeline as white rather than black.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And here I want to just bring up Tyrus's comment here. He says he thinks it's because folks feel like Pat doesn't fully embrace his blackness, doesn't resonate with black folks by and large, and Lamar does. He also says if folks didn't know who Pat's daddy was, they wouldn't fully know. I don't know. I look at that hair. You definitely know. But going beyond that, I saw Pat Mahomes on the quarterback Netflix special. And thank you, Tyrus, for your comment. I saw him on that. And there are moments when you can definitely tell. Like, oh, no. One of us would have said that, not one of them. He has moments where I'm like, okay, I see it, but he's talked about black issues, especially during the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, and so has Lamar Jackson. And to a degree, I agree with what Tyrus is saying, but to another degree, he ain't no cornball brother like how RG3 was. And still is. He ain't that neither. Like there is a element of coolness to Pat Mahomes, and I hate to compliment him on anything. There is an element of coolness there that you kind of get from having that black in you, pause, more so than acting more Caucasian like well, not more Caucasian, I guess acting more corny like a Russell Wilson, right? And I don't like to say Russell Wilson doesn't act black or anything like that. There are just different forms of blackness. Like Russell Wilson, just a chill dude. Yeah, he is corny, but he's not like he acting white or something like that. He married black, so that automatically changed his status once he did that. And I would be honest with you. I think if Pat Mahomes could get away from Brittany Mahomes, he is going to do it. I don't know when it's gonna be.
Facts.
He does. When I tell you that man does not like to associate himself with anybody at this point but his father, you can see it in his eyes that he would rather be anywhere else studying film or on a baseball diamond with his dad than be with his family, both his brother and his wife. But with that being said, man, it's just the way I see it. Like I said, it's a disingenuous and kind of dangerous conversation. And then the funny thing about it, I'm going to let you go on this, Chris. The funny thing about it is when Ryan Clark was challenged on it, he started just giving you just this long ass word salad. And it came down to him saying that Lamar Jackson should continue to associate himself with Kodak Black because they were childhood friends. Are you serious?
Nah, you off. No.
No. Look, I am a firm believer of leaving folks who are not going in the same direction that you were going in. Where the fuck they
at?
Seriously. I'm a firm believer in that. And just because we have the same shade of darkness to us or hue to us, not darkness. I don't want to offend anybody, but look at me, shit. Just because we don't have the same hue, or just because we do have the same hue, don't mean I gotta keep rolling with you. Like Ryan Clark, when he said that shit was absolutely wild. But the thing about it is, Lamar is such a good kid. He's such a good person. And the discourse around him, and to a degree, the discourse around Josh Allen is unwarranted on both of them. And it's unfair to a certain degree as well. But with that being said, Chris, what are your thoughts on this subject?
Yeah, I mean, both of y'all had some real good points on it, man. When I initially heard it, I was a little disappointed in Ryan Clark because I know where he comes from, right? He's from right up the road where I'm from. He's a very intelligent man, you know what I'm saying? You can hear that when he talks, but like Son said, sometimes he can kind of draw it out sometimes where, he's skipping around points to try to make his point and try to show how educated he is. All right, we got you, brother. Mm-hmm. I think his mind was just simply put in a box that everybody else thinks of. He missed a lot of great quarterbacks, right? He missed Steve McNair. He missed Donovan McNabb. You know what I'm saying? So I think exactly. I think it just all goes into that box though, bro. Like I seen the same question asked on First Take between who was the better scrambler, Vic, Cam, or Lamar. I think those guys are just so synonymous with each other and their playing styles. I think that's where it comes into effect. Which Jalen, when he first came into the league, that's all they said it was going to use him for in Philly was just to run wildcat packages and all that stuff. But they really kind of got away with that, and they did more so this year with Saquon in the backfield. I think that's simply just a box that they put those guys in, right? Mm-hmm. And it was unfair for Cam because Cam rookie year he threw for 4,000 yards. Right. Cam was balling, but the regression in the offense came where, all right, Cam, run left, run right, run left, run right. Same thing for Vic, right? Vic had decent weapons, man. He had Malcolm Jenkins, he had Brian Finneran, he had Algie Crumpler, he had Peerless Price, but it was QB sweep, Ward done, but it was QB sweep left, QB sweep right. And that's all Lamar was at first. And to a certain extent, he still is kind of that, and it's not his fault. Offensive coordinator's fault, right? Lamar, go left, go right. So the more I think about it, I think that's why he just mentioned that small sample size of the black quarterback as far as their evolution of running, right? Because Randall Cunningham was slinging that thing too. But he was the original, hey, I'm about to get outside my body with the football. That's really the thing that makes them so dynamic. Is it's kind of like the way they describe the crossover between Tim Hardaway and Allen Iverson, right?
Right.
Tim Hardaway is in his box. Allison's out here with it. It's the same thing with the quarterback running style, right? Most of your QBs, they here with it, high and tight. You know, Vic was out here with it. Lamar's kind of out here with it. So I think that's just the evolution as far as their running styles went. Lamar was out here with it. Vic was out here with it. Cam was going to run your ass over.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's where it all stemmed from was Cunningham, because I watched some highlights of Randall Cunningham, man, and I'm talking about he similar to the play that Lamar fumbled on, man. I've seen Cunningham put both hands on the ground with the football on the ground, spinning out, pirouetting from the pocket, launching it downfield. So
yeah, he was slick with it. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of his mindset went. And then, like you said, Wiley kind of caught him. And so now he started to backpedal on all that. And like you said, give people praises unnecessarily. But
it was the Authentically Black piece of it that was wild. That was the wildest thing. I'm like, now wait a minute. We just talked about Caucasians putting us in a box because of a playing style. And I understand it being synonymous with us. But to sit up there and call it and just say, you know, you root for him because he's authentically black, like, what the fuck you mean? What the fuck you mean by that?
Programmed in some of us, man.
Ed said he's going with Vic. And I'm assuming this is like in terms of the styles that we prefer of those. And this is interesting. Not going to stay on it long. Vic is the most electrifying player I've ever seen. I've always called him that. To me, Lamar is the best. If we're going down that evolutionary path, Lamar is the best of them all. But yeah, Vic was damn entertaining, man. I go back and look at their run against the Vikings quite frequently. That was one of the coldest plays I ever saw.
Walk off.
Right. All right. Great discussion, guys. I appreciate your input on that. We're going to move on and we're going to get out of here on this. Anybody want to talk about this piece of shit game?
No.
I do.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead. Take us on.
Boom, 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 boom. Let me wrap it up for y'all. Pause again. It's crazy tonight. But yeah, this is the natty that nobody watched. Because we didn't give a shit. We didn't give a shit about either team. Ohio State,
because I had to.
I had to. Ohio State did what Notre Dame did to Georgia times 10.
Mm-hmm.
And they won and they dominated the middle eight. Now, for those of y'all who aren't football savvy, the middle eight is the last 4 minutes of the first half and the first 4 minutes of the second half. That is how Notre Dame beat Georgia, right? Notre Dame got that sack fumble at the end of the half. They scored a touchdown, came out the second half, kickoff, ran the kickoff back. Those 14 points won the game because Georgia only scored 10. So that is what won the game for Notre Dame. And vice versa, that is where Ohio State made their mark in this game. That middle eight where Juckins started running the ball. And, I mean, they got out hot on them anyway. But they kind of slowed down Notre Dame's whole offense at the end of that first half to where it was punt, punt, punt. And Riley Leonard didn't play a bad game, but Marcus Freeman knew that his team was outmatched the way they were. So he tried to control the clock instead of controlling the game almost.
Right.
Because he's like, if I can run this in, because that first drive was like 15, 16 plays with like 3 fourth down conversions. If that's how you got to beat us, good luck. So running that shit up like that, that's how he tried to control the game. And then it just got out on him when Ohio State started feeding everybody else, right? Because they paid so much attention to Jeremiah Smith, and he ended up getting off late in the game. But they just paid so much attention to him that Emeka Ibuka started coming alive. Carnell Tate started coming alive. Travion Henderson didn't really run that well, and neither did Quishon Junkins, honestly. But that defense kept cutting the field in half, man. Like you can't win those long sustaining drives if you can't flip the field. So once Ohio State started flipping the field, it was curtains for them, man. That short field, your defense is tired as well as they played all year. Nobody's defense can hold up to that shit, bro.
So we got a comment that brought up something interesting. This is how I felt about the game, honestly. My boy Eric is saying that Ohio State just basically showed you they got all the NFL players, and it wasn't about being out coached, it was about being out talent. And I like, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't care for Ryan Day as a coach at all. And I know Ohio State fans who don't care for Ryan Day as a coach, but actually, I guess it does go hand in hand with what you were saying. They just basically started distributing the ball everywhere. You're right. You're absolutely right in that regard. You just started distributing the ball everywhere.
That was my next point. Yeah, that was my next point, bro. Like, I can't stand Ryan Day. I think Marcus Freeman is a way better coach than Ryan Day. In fact, whenever Ryan Day is ready to move on, Ohio State's probably going to call Marcus Freeman.
They are.
Ex-Ohio State alum, played there 4 years. Like he's going to get that call. The point I was going to was that's what happens when you have a $20 million roster.
It's funny you just said that.
Yeah, exactly.
You just said that.
When you distribute that in, they had the third highest paid roster this year between them, Texas, and it was either Oregon or Ole Miss, one of those two. But when you pay these players, bro, and you assemble the Avengers, ain't nobody finna beat you, bro.
Yeah.
That's all it came down to.
Yeah, absolutely. It was whose wallet was deeper at the end of the day. And at Ohio State, the boosters, they came to play. They came like, nah, look. And somehow what he doing in Boulder, Colorado, what we doing over in this motherfucker? We gonna pay for this. We paying for a natty. I want to go back.
You didn't hear Ryan Day complain about spending all that money at all. You didn't hear one word from him because he knew that if he didn't get it done this year, he was going home.
Hey, Eric brought up another good point, man. And I'm with him. Imagine if Freeman was coaching OSU. He said he'd be terrified as an Alabama fan. Bruh, that's hell, man. That's hell. If thinking about that, I don't know. Look, I don't like the Irish nor Ohio State. But Tyrus, who is very much an Irish fan, please keep Marcus Freeman with y'all. Please. We do not want him to go and build a dynasty over in Ohio State. I would rather not have to spend the rest of my days on this show covering Ohio State natty after Ohio State natty. And Eric and you too, Greg, I want you both to do something for me. Put in a call to get Saban off my damn TV and get him back where he's supposed to be at. That man want to coach that damn team again so bad.
I know, bro. I saw
him on the pivot, just giving those stories about his days in Alabama. That man misses. He misses very much so. Please, because I'm still getting over the flu. Fuck it. Because I'm seeing him when he's covering Alabama, he has to talk about it. It's almost painful. Like, what are you doing? He wants to say to the ball, what is it that you think you're trying to do? And like I said, Coach Saban, I mean, the real Nick Saban is alive, but Coach Saban was rolling over his grave when he saw everything that went on in Alabama this
year. Man, it hurts. It hurts. It hurts to see your baby grow up and you made a successful child, and now you're watching them fall. flat on their fucking face. Like
Right.
That shit hurt. And you can't, it's like a parent. You can't do nothing but let them make their mistake. You can teach them and show them everything you can, but they gonna have to learn on their own. And I think this is what Saban is doing right now. He's watching his child make the mistakes, and he's getting up and telling y'all, my child is a dumbass. But he gonna have to learn. He gonna have to learn. My daddy did it. My daddy definitely did it. You're gonna bump your head, and when you put that ice pack on, I'm gonna tell you how stupid you were. I told you not to do it.
I'm interested to see who's the highest bidder is going to be next year, especially after seeing Ohio State buy a national championship. It's about to be very interesting to see who it is that's going to be the next one to be like, oh, nah, this just cannot stand. And they just throw money at the problem. But anyways, we have come to the end, man. Look, I appreciate all the comments, all the views. We all do. And it was a great conversation tonight with you guys. And I just appreciate it, man. It was all love. And I appreciate everything you guys have done. Look, turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live. We're really trying to get on a tight schedule around here. We got to get time differences worked out because two of us are on the East Coast. Somebody's in Central, and he just don't know what the fuck going on half the time. And I'm not going to bring up who it is, but you can probably guess at this point. But anyways, until next time, I'm Jarius, Unapologetic Geek, joined once again by my good friends, Hoodie C and Quad G. And until next time, we are the Unapologetic Football Show, and we are